Well, guys, once again, good evening. Welcome to our session 5. Everybody, that means that next week we will be having our final exam. The typical reminders, continue working on the virtual campus. We are about to finish our second unit out of the 3 units that we will be working on during this cycle. Keep in mind the information of the project. Tomorrow, let's say that officially, we will talk about that again. So, the people you will be working with on Friday. But based on my, let's say, general review that I already did, I think that it doesn't really change compared to what we did in cycle 2. I know that you're very busy, but at the same time, of course, you're very responsible. So probably you have already talked to your, peers, the one that you are working the project with, in order to continue reaching that part. Remember, guys, that it is until 8.4, 8.2.4, where you actually, let's say, present the project information, okay? I think that in that aspect, we already clarified that one in A2.2. So I think that we won't have issues on that way. Well, guys, today, let's give a few seconds to our other classmates to arrive, at least 3 more minutes. We will be working on our unit 9, sorry, I'm confused with the other group, but it is not an excuse. Today in our unit 9, we will be talking about adjectives for describing places. Yesterday, we began talking about houses in particular. If you remember at the beginning, like the first part, we were talking about the vocabulary of houses and how things have changed, during the years. Mini paréntesis. Si no habían terminado la actividad, habíamos dicho que pues tenían como la franja de la mañana, en la tarde realmente no alcancé a revisar. Entonces, llegado el caso, si todavía tienen una luz para que completen la actividad que hicimos en la noche, pues ojalá la logren aprovechar. No voy a decir mentiras, ahorita no lo voy a revisar. Terminamos a las 10 de la noche. Realmente voy a darle una mirada mañana. ¿Listo? Y recordé subir el material, que les debía el material también del día, ayer era lunes, les debía el del día viernes, sorry. So today we continue talking about, like, let's say buildings in general. We are not talking about houses anymore. In this case, it is to talk about other places, of course, besides houses, okay? I already talked for 2 more minutes. Let me ask this question before we actually go to taking the attendance. You know that there is a, let's say, necessary part in this process. Here we have 2 questions. The questions are on the book, but I want to know your opinion or your perception about it. I'm going to read them. It says, do most people that you know live with their family, live with friends, or live alone? The second question says, at what age do people in your country usually move out of their parents' house or flat? You know that when we're talking about flat, it's also, let's say, it's the British form of apartment, but at the end of the day, it's exactly the same. Why do you think this is? I'm sure that for these 2 questions, all of us have a different opinion, different perspective based on, let's say, our generation. Of course, based on money issues, we can't deny that part. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes, to think about it. In the meantime, we will, our classmates, let's say, a few minutes to take part of the session. I'm going to set up the timer. So the 2 questions. Guys, are the questions clear, or maybe is there any aspect of vocabulary that you want to clarify? No, not yet. No he tomado lista todavía, esperando que ingresen un poquito más. Estoy esperando que sean las 6:09, es más o menos la hora que tomo asistencia. So in the meantime, you have a look at the questions. From the questions, any questions, guys? Okay. I take that silence as a no. Remember, 3 minutes for you to think about it. I'm going to ask 4 of you to share your ideas. And of course, I will take attendance. 3 minutes is starting now. Well, guys, time's up for the moment. The idea was for you to read the questions and, to brainstorm the possible answers. I'm going to take advantage of the situation and I'm going to take attendance. Mientras siguen ustedes como con su lluvia de ideas, entonces en este momento oficialmente, ahora sí voy a tomar asistencia. Entonces, el cuadrito. Hay varios en rojo, Dios. Ok, well, Sergio ya me comentó en el chat, listo. Today is the 7th. Entonces, Sergio Gómez ya me había escrito en el chat. Andrés Felipe Jaimes.
Present, teacher.
Ok. Jennifer Paola Martínez. Okay, not here for the moment. Kiara Lisette Martínez.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Jorge Jair Moreno.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Diego Fernando Olarte.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Dana Valentina Ortiz.
Present, miss.
Okay. Manuela Ortiz.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Joan Sebastián Pavón.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Beatriz Omaira Pedraza.
Present.
Okay. Hamilton Peña.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Xiomara Caterina Rincón.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Jessica Paola Ríos.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Caterina Alexandra Rodríguez.
Present, miss.
Okay. María Alejandra Rosso.
Present, teacher.
Okay. I'm going to have a look at the chat. Bueno, y en el chat también. Marlon Yesid Sánchez.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Mendy Fabián Santa.
Teacher, present.
Okay. Karen Juliet Torres. Hoy es martes, cierto. María Alejandra Vega.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Vanessa Zambrano.
Present, teacher.
Okay. And Natalia Navarro.
Present.
Perfect. Okay. Just for the moment. Que llega ahorita. And Jennifer Paola, que ya sí no sé. Let's continue. Well, guys, as I was telling you, escucho el micrófono. No sé si se me haya pasado algo o alguien.
Sí, yo, teacher, ¿qué significa que uno está en rojo?
Que se va acercando como al número de fallas.
¿Tú me podrías recordar cuál es el número de fallas? ¿El máximo?
7 ya es el límite, es decir, cuando se llega a 7, la 8 ya es que se pierde por fallas.
Ok. ¿Y cada falla es una hora de clase, sí? ¿O
Sí, sí,
dos?
señor. Entonces,
su-
digamos, cada franja son 2 fallas.
Ok, ya
Entonces,
entendí.
digamos, el total de la noche serían 4, por decirlo así. Si alguien se pierde todas las 2 sesiones, los 2 bloques más bien, serían 4.
Ok, teacher, gracias.
Yes, very good. Sí, Jorge, sí, 8 horas. Ya 8 ya es, no hay marcha atrás. En las 7 como que estamos en el límite. Entonces, para que lo tengamos en cuenta. Obviamente no, pues tampoco tan obvio, creo yo. Cada ciclo arranca de 0, ¿no? No es que eso se vaya acumulando ni mucho menos. Entonces,
Teacher, ¿y
aguantemos.
tú podrías decir quiénes están en rojo o algo así? ¿O es
Mm,
confidencial?
Sí, porque digamos la encargada de llevar ese proceso como tal es Nancy.
Ok, preguntarle a ella
Entonces,
mejor, como
sí,
cuántas horas
exacto.
hubo. Ok,
Sí,
listo.
porque ella
Ok,
saca sus porcentajes y tiene su tablita. Yo solo veo el color rojo y nosotros ya sabemos que está llegando al límite.
ok, teacher, thank you.
Okay, welcome. Well, guys, I was
Teacher,
asking you, señor. Sorry,
Teacher.
yes.
Nancy la psicóloga, teacher.
Sí, pues la coordinadora de seguimiento. La que los escribe por WhatsApp
Ah,
cuando llegan tarde o faltan.
ok, para preguntarle cuántas fallas están.
Sí. Sí, ella la, digamos, ella es la encargada de llevar ese registro que pues se imaginarán lo minucioso que tiene que ser en este tipo de proyectos. Entonces, por eso es como tan insistente, los llama, les escribe por WhatsApp, todo, absolutamente todo se tiene que justificar. Entonces, sí, confiamos de que, y bueno, sé más o menos sospechan tal día llegue tarde, cuando llegan tarde, ella igual llama, si tal día faltaron, lo llamaron también, entonces para que tengan presente. Pero bueno, ojalá que no pase eso. Well, guys, I was telling you that in this case, with these two questions, of course, our perspective changes a little bit based on different situations, especially talking about our generation and also talking about money, which is an aspect that at the end of the day, we can't deny how relevant it is. I would like to know your opinion. I was telling you that I was going to ask four of you, could be that you volunteer or maybe I choose. So you just have to answer the question. That would be like that. So any volunteers for these first questions? Let me make sure that this is working. Yes, it is. Do most people that you know live with their family, live with friends, or live alone? What would your answer be? Manuela,
Teacher, maybe they live alone. I think that is a couple and one friend.
mhm. Okay, and the second question, Manuela, usually, well, from your perspective,
Okay.
which age people usually like move out from their parents' house or apartment? Like, do we have like an age for that here in Colombia?
I think so, maybe 20. But in my case, is so, ¿cómo es temprano? Pues,
Early?
so early. Sí, yes. When I was 15, I live.
I left. Or
I
I
left.
moved out. If we want to include like another, let's say, phrase for
Moved
that,
out.
moved out.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, of course, Manuela. See, your case is completely different. Thank you. Let's see another perspective, maybe. Hamilton, what about you? The first question. The people that you know live with their family, with friends, or alone?
Teacher, for me, the people that I know live when with alone.
They live alone.
Yes.
Okay, no with. And what about the second question? Notice that the case of Manuela, she was sharing her experience that it was a little bit earlier, talking about 15, but in general aspects, I don't know, you want to talk about your personal experience or talking about like in general. What will be the age to move out from parents' house? Hamilton, the same, I continue asking you a question.
Sorry, teacher. I think, but I think that depends. Depende. How do you say depende?
Depends, y para decir depende de, depends on. Siempre es con on.
Depends on the education or if the child or the girl or man are have working, for example.
Is working or has, okay.
But I think 18 years old is the most usual.
The most usual? No, okay, Hamilton, thank you very much. Let me ask Beatriz, what about you? The first question, just to clarify. The people around you, family, friends, or alone?
Depend, teacher. For me, depend.
Depende
Depends on,
the countries, for example,
depends on the country.
on the country. For example, the coast country, the mayor live their
The
family,
mayors?
la mayoría.
Ah, the majority.
The majority live your family,
Their family.
their
La de
family.
ellos. Okay.
The center country, for example, Bogotá, live
In the
alone,
middle of the country.
middle of the country, live alone. Or live with friends.
Okay.
Yes, comparten cuarto, ¿cómo se dice?
They share an apartment or they are roommates, you know, that's where that expression comes from.
It's more popular in Bogotá. ¿Cómo se dice? Country.
¿Cómo se dice cuál?
Compartir cuarto.
Share, well, share room or share an apartment.
Share apartments. And move. I think usually move of the parents' house maybe 25 years or 13 years.
30.
13 years.
Because 13 sounds like too young,
No,
but
30,
it's possible.
30.
Okay, 30.
Maybe why, for example, the 20 and 30 move other country for job. Other people moved maybe 30, 35 or 38 for married or for live union libre. How do you say union libre?
Actually, it's like free union.
Free union?
But let's check it, huh? Yeah, because probably that has a different way. Okay, interesting point of view. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I'm having a look that the coordinator sent a message. In the meantime, I want to see the chat that some of you have already sent your answers. Katerina Alexandra says, I think that it depends on the personality of the person. Sorry, because I have met people who never leave their parents' house. Sorry, and others live very young. Catherine, if you, and you already gave me the reason why you sent it to the chat, but you are absolutely right. Let's say that in some cases, it is actually the personality, you know, the issue that plays an important role in here. Jorge says, I think that people prefer to live or prefer living with their family or friends until they get enough money to live alone. Of course, we can't deny that money is an issue. In some cases, it is like way too expensive, you know, to pay everything by yourself. So for the moment, sharing with family or friends, it's a good choice. And that would be it. Thank you for the ones that send the answers to the chat. I want to ask one of you guys more before we continue with our activity. In this case, let me ask Diego. What do you think? Diego Fernando? Well, it looks like Diego just left in this precise moment. Hopefully, he will be back at some point. Vanessa, what about you?
The second question, teacher.
Yeah, let's focus on that one.
When they are over 30.
Okay. And why do you think that is?
Because when they are Theater economic o freedom o libertad, no sé cómo decirlo. Libertad económica o
You mean like economic freedom or more like freedom,
economic
like
freedom?
stability, I would dare to say. Es que libertad es como estabilidad, you know?
Okay. And they can become independent.
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 Okay, very good. Thank you, Vanessa. Well, guys, and of course, the one that answered the question, thank you very much. And notice that, well, I was trying to, you know, ask some of you based on maybe the age that somehow you are, and everybody has a different perception. We can't deny that. Of course, personality was one of your answers, like to sum up your conclusions. The aspect that we can't deny at the end of the day when we're talking about money, you know, and also in some cases when we're talking about like the general needs, you were talking about when people have more economical stability, or maybe when people, they get married. So in that moment is when they actually move out from their houses. There are like a good, let's say, range of reasons. And of course, all of you are right. Well, guys, remember that we're working on our unit 9. We're talking about pages 82 and 83. We already did the first part, which were the questions that you were answering. Now we're going to move to part 2A. Today we're going to, let's say, work a little bit on reading. And of course, here we have an email that all of you guys are going to read, but let's have a look at the questions that you are going to answer, of course, with information of the text. Let me ask Mandy, could you read the instruction that we have in here in 2A, please?
Okay, teacher, part 2A, read Georgia's email and answer the questions. 1, who do you think Georgia is writing to? 2, why is she writing? 3, which is her favorite room?
Very good. So I'm going to zoom out first before we have a look at the second part of the instruction. Here we have the email that, as I was telling you, you are going to read in a few moments. And also notice that here we have some pictures. Make sure to answer the question, of course, with the information that we have in here. Now, let's see the question that we have related to the pictures. That is part B. I'm going to ask part B to, well, the instruction, of course. You haven't read the email yet. Joan Sebastian, could you read this instruction, part B?
Yes, teacher. Read the email again and look at the photos that Georgia attached to her email. Which photo is different from her description in the email?
Exactly. So make sure while we read the information that is being presented, that we're going to choose one of them that actually doesn't match the information that we're going to read on our email. Of course, you are going to notice that it is a very, let's say, informal in terms of the intention, but at the end of the day, we can see a clear structure on the information that is being presented on the email. So we're going to read it, guys. Let's not forget that you are going to answer 2A and 2B. Anyway, after we read, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, you know, to analyze information, but you are going to notice that the questions are like very literal, and I'm pretty sure that for you will be really easy to recognize the answers. Let's read the first paragraph. Andres Felipe, please, could you read the first paragraph of this email?
Okay, teacher. Did I tell you I'm moving out of my parents' house soon? Have found a lovely flat to rent and I'm really excited. It's in a nice area and the street is really quiet. But there is a shop just down the road and a lively cafe, which is great.
Thank you, Andres. Just down, and in this case, lively. Providing
teacher.
that description. Thank you very much. That is the beginning, of course, sharing the great news. Yes, Mandy?
Teacher, excuse me, I have a question. In this case, how do you pronounce the word cafe? Don't buy coffee?
Yes, Mandy, because in this case, we are not talking about the drink. Cafe is a cafeteria. It's talking about the place. It's not the drink. So that is why we say cafe and not coffee.
Okay, teacher.
Bien, Mandy. Good. Yeah, wasn't it like a mini summary of the first part? Like the reason why this person is sending the email, of course, how the person feels. I think that in terms of vocabulary, it's very clear, I dare to say. Let's continue with the second part of the email. Of course, it's a little bit long, so I'm going to cut it a little bit. The first part is going to be from the flat is attractive until really good in here. Jorge, could you read that part?
Yes, the flat is attractive. It looks quite small from the outside, but it feels spacious inside. The bedroom is the kitchen. It's mostly white and very modern. Suits my style. The living room is nice too. It's a large, comfortable room, and at the moment, it's got old-fashioned furniture in it. But I think my furniture will look really good in there.
Okay, Jorge, thank you very much. Just 3 words of vocabulary to keep in mind. Just, here, fashioned, and furniture. That would be it. Okay, Jorge, but of course it was pretty good. Well, also guys, for you, remember that for this word comfortable, there are 2 different, let's say, pronunciations, and they are fine. It is okay to say comfortable or comfortable. Probably comfortable is a little bit more common, but whatever you choose is going to be just fine. Let's finish the second part, like, you know, the body of the email. Kiara, please begin from also until light and sunny.
And the gardener, no. Also, there is a door to the garden, which is lovely. And the garden is small and quite private. Mostly private, mostly sunny, but with a nice shady area for sitting. There's a small bedroom and 2 bedrooms on quite dark, but the other is really light and sunny.
That would be it. Thank you very much. Just 2 words. Well, private that you already noticed, and shady. Okay, sunny here. Talking about the shady area. Guys, you remember the meaning of shade alone? Or shady in particular?
No, teacher. Un área con sombra, algo así.
That would be it. Very good, Kara. Yes, that was the idea. I'm just asking you this one because, you know, shady also has, let's say, in an informal connotation, talking about something like suspicious, you know, something like definitely a negative thing. But of course, in this case, we are, let's say, providing a, let's say, clear and wide description, you know, of a house. So we are not talking about something negative, just as Kiara already explained, something that has shade, as the name states. And let's finish the email that we have in here, just like to sum up the information. Xiomara Caterina, could you read it, please?
Yes, teacher. El último párrafo.
Yes.
I am attaching some photos of the flash. Of course, it will look different when I move my furniture in, but what do you think? Do you like it?
That's it, Xiomara. Thank you very much. Well, a move in this case, you know, usually the E at the end of the words in English is silent. We have to write it, but we don't say movie, or for example, or any other example that we can write out. For example, in this line, that is outside, La E se va en pronunciación, of course. And remember, furniture. And somehow on the same line, when you see this ending, let's see how cute the highlighter is. I really wanted to get only the final part, I'm sorry. When we're talking about furniture, this ending, it always sounds sure. And that would be it, just like in terms of pronunciation. Well, guys, very good. Once again, notice that it is a very informal email. She's sharing her changes. On the second paragraph, she's describing the house, well, the new place where she's going to live. And of course, in the final part, she's just saying goodbye. Now, remember, guys, that with that description, you are going to do the second part of the activity. Remember, the first part is to answer these 3 questions. Yeah, let's say, well, we already read them. What's the point of reading them again? And then remember that based on the description, you have to choose which image actually doesn't fit, you know, like the one that belongs to probably a different description. Well, guys, at this point, all of you have the book. I'm going to display just the email. So you answer the 3 questions that we have in here. As you notice, well, I'm sure that you already noticed, the questions are very literal. But once again, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to, let's say, scan the text once again and find the answers. Okay? Guys, do you have any questions about the instructions?
It's okay, teacher.
Very good. Well, guys, 5 minutes is starting now.
Teacher, can you repeat the instruction, please?
Sure. So we read the email, you know. Now the idea is, let's say, the activity divided into 2 parts. First, answer these 3 questions with the information that we read from the email. The second part is to choose the picture that is actually different from the description that is being provided. Remember that the description, the detailed description is here on this second paragraph. So you read the second paragraph in particular, and you have to choose which of these 3 pictures actually doesn't match the description that is being presented, sorry, on the email, okay?
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Welcome. Well, guys, time's up. Well, today the list has been moving like a lot. So first, the 3 questions, as I was telling you, the questions are a little bit, no, they are quite literal. I'm sure that for you, finding the information was not an issue. So I'm going to start with question number 1. Jessica, who do you think Georgia is writing to based on how the text is being presented? Let's say like the way she addresses. What do you think?
I believe she reading her friend.
She's writing to a friend. Yeah, it looks like. Very good. Let's have a look at the second question. I'm gonna ask it to Marlon. Why is she writing?
I think that Georgia won't know about, or no, know that thing your friend about your new flat, and write the email about this.
Okay. You said your friend. So George is writing to her friend, right?
Her friend.
To keep like the line of possession, you know, it's her. Okay, to talk about her new flat. That would be it. Okay. What about question number 3? Based on the really comprehensive description that we had, Maria Vega, which is her favorite room?
Who, teacher?
Maria Vega.
Her favorite room is the kitchen.
Absolutely. She
is mostly white and very modern.
Very good. So she's providing like a lot of information in that part. Well, that was the first part, let's say, based specifically on the information that we had on the article. Remember that the idea was also, let's say, to analyze the pictures and to choose the picture that actually is not that related, you know, to the description that we had in here. So after reading, and let's say that after analyzing the information, which picture actually doesn't fit? Let me ask. I'm looking for a person, but what is it? Natalia. What picture actually is like a little bit different? A, B, or C?
B.
Is it B?
Okay.
Let's see. The thing, because notice, well, notice that the description that is providing about the living room, it says old fashioned. Guys, do you remember the meaning of old fashioned?
Yes.
What is that?
It's like antiguo.
Very good.
Okay.
So it's the C?
Actually, it is C. Well, I know that the pictures are not that, you know, that precise with the description that we had in the email, but the one that probably is a little bit far away, let's put it like that, would be picture C. That would be the idea. In the chat, someone says the living room. Yes. So actually it's picture C. Yeah, because in the part of the garden, it says like very specific parts with, of course, we can't see the shady area, but at least we can see the area where people would be sitting. Well, in conclusion, like to wrap up this part, the image that, let's say, goes a little bit farther from the description would be picture C. Very good. Guys, I'm sure you also notice, I'm sorry that I always like go back and forth. In this part, besides talking about the general aspects of the vocabulary, we were having a look at a good amount of adjectives. Don't forget that this is like the core in terms of language of this session. Adjectives to describe places. And that's the idea of part 3. Okay? This is what you are going to do. It says, look at the adjectives in the box and answer the 3 questions that we have in here. Look at all the adjectives that we have here in this box. It says modern, sunny, light, small, attractive, shady, lively, quiet, large, private, old-fashioned, that we just refreshed that one a few seconds ago, dark, comfortable, and spacious. The idea, guys, is that you're going to answer part 1, 2, 3, and 4 with all the words that we have in here, okay? You are going to notice that you are going to use the adjectives basically just once at the end of the day. So, for example, let's do the first one as an example. It says, which word means the opposite of? Guys, do you remember the meaning of opposite?
Hueso.
El
Opuesto.
opuesto, contrario, antónimo, whatever that you prefer is going to be perfect. So, the word that we have here is modern. Which of these words would be the opposite for modern?
Old-fashioned.
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 Very good. So we'll read the description and then we eliminate the word. That means that we won't be using old-fashioned again in all the, let's say, questions that we have in here. That's the intention of this exercise. So we have sunny, light, small. Which word has a similar meaning to large? What is the difference between quiet and private? In this case, it's more like a general description. And we have the words that describe a place where lots of things are happening, which is nice to look at, which makes you feel physically relaxed. All the answers are in here. Of course, I know that you have a lot of vocabulary, and you may be thinking that you could use also these words of your vocabulary to answer the questions. But for the moment, as sometimes I keep on repeating, the idea that we use this new vocabulary that we are studying tonight. Okay? Do you have any questions about the instructions?
No.
That would be it. It's pretty simple. I know that you already know the meaning of all the words in here. Just to classify the vocabulary to describe. Yes?
What is the difference, sunny and light?
Sunny, because it definitely depends on the sun. You know? That would be soleado.
The contact sun.
Yeah, like it's definitely using the sun. Let's put it like that. While in the case of light, probably because there is a really good bulb, you know, or something artificial, let's call it like that, to make it, yeah, look it like clear. Let's put it like that. Sun is because the sun is there present. Okay. That would be like an informal way to make the difference. Very good. Well, guys, 5 minutes. And then, of course, we will compare. Well, guys, time's up. Did you finish? But I think that you did. It's pretty simple vocabulary for you. Well, we already, let's say, answered the first one, which was our example. Which word means the opposite of modern? We already, let's say, established that it is old-fashioned. Karen Juliet, what about the opposite of sunny?
Shady.
That would be it. Very good. What about, ¿quién es iPhone? Catherine Alexandra, the opposite of light. Catherine Alexandra. Sorry, Catherine. Catherine, sorry, I don't know. I think that there is a problem with the microphone or maybe the connection. Could you type in the chat,
Yes.
please?
Yes. What is the question? Number one.
Yeah, I'm asking you, well, we already did this one, we already did this one. So what is the opposite of light? Which of these words? No, I don't get the idea, Catherine. I'm sorry. Type it in the chat, please.
Miss, can you hear
Yeah.
me?
A little bit better.
Shady.
But shady,
Shady?
shady, but we already use it with
Shady.
sunny. But that's the opposite of sunny.
Dark.
It will be dark. Very good. Let's eliminate it. We already said which one it was. What about the small, Maria Alejandra Rosso? Which of these words is the opposite? Very good. Well, I don't have to like this. Now, going to, let's say, the whole other situation. Which word has a similar meaning of large? Remember that large doesn't mean largo. Well, I know that, you know, I just wanted like to refresh your memory. Andre Felipe.
Teacher, spacious.
Spacious, very good. Wait, that someone is in the sala espera. What about somehow with your own words, I think, the difference between quiet and private, Beatriz?
Lively?
No, number 3.
No? Number 3.
The difference between quiet and private.
In describe or the adjective, teacher?
No, number 3 was the only one that you had to, let's say, use your own words to provide the description.
Okay. For me, lively. No?
No, Beatriz, my question is about number 3. The idea is that
what is
difference
the difference between quiet and private? For me, quiet is not noisy.
Very good.
Private, you have a quarter, you have a space especially for you.
Especially for you. Okay, that it's a very good definition, Beatriz. Absolutely. Actually, we can take that as a difference between quiet and private. One of the main characteristics that quiet has, as you said, is that it is not noisy, you know, probably it's very silent, or the music is not disturbing, maybe. And as you already explained, private, well, it was just the perfect description. I don't need to paraphrase it. Let's have a look at number 4. We still had 3 more words, let's say, to clarify. Diego, what about where lots of things are happening? Which of the words that we had in here make reference to that?
Lively.
Lively, very good. Which is nice to look at? Hamilton.
Teacher, large, for example, big.
No. I'm asking this question. The second question in number 4, Hamilton.
It's nice to see the living room because it is modern and very white.
Okay, that is a nice improvisation, Hamilton, but the idea of the exercise was to use these words in here to answer the questions in here. So, which of these
Attractive.
adjectives? That's the answer. Thank you. But you know, actually, that was an interesting description that you provided. I'm not saying that it is bad, but it wasn't the answer that I was expecting. And the final question on this part, Joan Sebastian. Which makes you feel physically relaxed?
Comfortable.
Comfortable or comfortable? But comfortable, es así no.
Comfortable, yes.
Okay, whatever you prefer from the other two. Okay, guys, very good. A second. Okay, of course, there are different words. We didn't use all of them somehow. Well, we have them already in here, the other ones. The intention is to, as I was telling you at some point, make sure that we can include those words. I know that actually you use them, you know, but let's be more, let's say, aware of the fact that these are the new words from this part of the unit that we are using. Well, guys, let's move to the second part. Actually, in this second part, we will have a look at one grammatical component, but before we go to that grammatical component, we're going to have a look at this situation that we have in here. And first, I want to know your opinion in this grammar focus 2, talking about present tense after if, when, and other time words. Jorge, could you read this description of the situation that we have in here, please?
Yes, teacher. An old power station near the center of town isn't used anymore. There are plans to replace it with a cinema, a shopping center, a hotel, or a block of flats. Work in pairs and discuss which plan do you like best. Why?
That would be it. Okay. For the moment, we're not going to do it in pairs. Let's say conduct a very quick, why not, survey among all of you guys. From your perspective, because in a moment you actually will give me your very own point of view, which would be the best, let's say, choice for that space that we have in here. I'm gonna invite you to vote: a cinema, a shopping center, a hotel, or a block of flats. I want to know your opinion. So first, we're going to do this part. How many of you? 2019. Let's see how similar or different your answers are. Anyone want to give you a couple of minutes for you like to analyze the information, to analyze the situation, and then we will see, let's say, who's right. Okay, 16 answers. Let's use percentage. It looks a little bit more elegant. Well, for the moment, based on your opinion, your perception, the winner would be with 63% of votes, the shopping center. On second place, a block of flats. And third place, we have a kind of tie. We are talking about the restaurant. Okay, the restaurant, no, but it's in my eyes. Well, actually now the third place is officially for the hotel. Very good. Well, guys, of course, everybody has a different opinion. We can't deny that part. And now we're going to go back to our book because that's your opinion. But we actually are going to listen to 4 people talking about the plans that they are actually in the city conducting. Let's not forget to this space that we have in here. This is what you are going to do. I'm going to read the questions this time. Question 1 says, which plan is each person talking about? Let's not forget the 4 plans that are being described. And second, does each person think the plan is good idea or bad idea? So for the moment, that's, let's say, all that we need to know. First, the plan that the 4 people, well, each person actually are talking about. And second, based on the information that they are sharing, is it good idea or bad idea? It's a pretty simple exercise, okay? So guys, we're gonna listen twice to make sure that all of you have the answer of these questions. The information, for the moment, we're talking about only this part. Do you have any question, guys?
No, miss.
No, teacher.
That would be it. Do you remember what the 4 plans are? Karen Juliet, could you remind us, please, the 4 plans?
Sorry, teacher, I can't hear you.
Okay, don't worry. I'm asking you if you remember the 4 plans that they will talk about in the conversation.
No, teacher.
Let's ask for some help. Yes, Andres?
Maybe cinema, the shopping center.
What else?
Hotel and
The
block of
hotel
flats.
and block of
And a
flats.
couple of flats. Yes.
Very good. Those are the 4 plans that they will be discussing. Let's say discussing in this track. So remember the plan they are talking about, and if it is good or bad, even if they are not sure, that will be also a third possibility that you will find. Let's listen twice.
Unit 9, Recording 4. 1.
It's very difficult for people to find the right type of place to live. Houses and flats, There isn't enough cheap accommodation around here. So I think the flats idea is the best solution. Besides, if they build new flats, it will help other businesses in the area. I'll be very pleased when all the work is complete. It's a horrible building site at the moment.
2.
I'm sure they'll ask local people for their ideas before they make a decision. I think it's exciting. After the old power station goes, the area will be more attractive. Personally, I think the hotel scheme is the best one for the area. Unemployment is quite high around here, and there will be more jobs for local people if they build a new hotel on the site.
3. If they decide to put a cinema here, it will create very serious parking problems. There aren't enough parking spaces for local people as it is, and the roads will have too much traffic. As soon as more people want to come to the town centre, the traffic will be terrible. I don't think the people who are developing this site think about the local people. 4.
Well, I'm not sure. Really, I'm not. Before they make a decision, they will have to ask local people what they think. Not everybody wants the same thing. The area will change completely if they put a new shopping centre there. We have plenty of small shops around here, and a shopping centre will make things very difficult for local businesses.
Let's listen the second time.
Unit 9, Recording 4. 1.
It's very difficult for people to find the right type of place to live, houses and flats, you know. There isn't enough cheap accommodation around here. So I think the flats idea is the best solution. Besides, if they build new flats, it will help other businesses in the area. I'll be very pleased when all the work is complete. It's a horrible building site at the moment.
2.
I'm sure they'll ask local people for their ideas before they make a decision. I think it's exciting. After the old power station goes, the area will be more attractive. Personally, I think the hotel scheme is the best one for the area. Unemployment is quite high around here, and there will be more jobs for local people if they build a new hotel on the site.
3.
If they decide to put a cinema here, it will create very serious parking problems. There aren't enough parking spaces for local people as it is, and the roads will have too much traffic. As soon as more people want to come to the town centre, the traffic will be terrible. I don't think the people who are developing this site think about the local people.
4.
Well, I'm not sure. Really, I'm not. Before they make a decision, they will have to ask local people what they think. Not everybody wants the same thing. The area will change completely if they put a new shopping centre there. We have plenty of small shops around here, and a shopping centre will make things very difficult for local businesses.
Okay. Okay, we have a second listening, so I don't have to stop sharing sound yet. Let's see the plan that they are talking about and their point of view. It was or good, not good. And even there is one that is like, you know, not sure. It doesn't really show positive or negative perspective that clear compared to the other ones. I'm going to ask Kiara. What about the first person? Which of the plans is being described in that one?
The first person described a building block of flats.
Very good. And what does it say? Good, bad, not sure.
He thinks is a good idea because it's a best solution for help people, for cheap accommodation, and help business in the area.
It's the best solution. Excellent answer, Chiara. Thank you very much. You expanded a little bit on what it was requested. Let's continue with the second person. So of course that means that, the block of flats is already out of the question. Marlon, what about the second person? Which plan is being described? Marlon? Again. Creo que ya le había preguntado. Bueno, como les pregunto a todos todo el tiempo. Mandy, could you help Marlon, please? The second plan that was being described. The chat, sorry. Mandy, okay, what is the plan? At least tell me the plan and tell me then good, bad, or not sure. That would be it. Let's wait for your answer. She's talking about a hotel. Okay. But how do I, predict the situations? Okay, Marlon, thank you. Well, be careful, of course, with your device and with the traffic as well. And what about the perspective? I'm going to ask Mandy also to put it in the chat. Good, bad, or not sure? Mandy says that it's a bad plan. Is it bad, Natalia?
The second,
Yeah, the hotel.
I heard that she said that is a good idea.
Yeah, actually it is positive. Well, probably it's not that evident compared to the previous one, but the reasons that are being given is more like from the positive side of the situation. Okay. Perdón, es interno. Okay, let's have a look at number 3. I would like to ask Manuela, which plan is being discussed in number 3?
No, teacher, I can hear.
You couldn't hear? Don't worry, Manuela. Let's ask Sergio for some help.
Teacher, the cinema.
The cinema.
He think that is not a good idea.
Absolutely. He's pointing out all those like negative aspects. So, thank you, Sergio. In that line, Valentina, which is the plan number 4 that is being discussed?
Which means
Number 4, like the final one. We already have the block of flats, the hotel, the cinema, so which is the only plan that is left? Valentina Ortiz.
I don't know, Miss.
Let's ask Vanessa for some help. The fourth
Shopping
one.
center.
The shopping center, very good. And what is your opinion? Positive, negative, or not sure?
Not sure. I believe that bad idea, but not sure.
Yeah, like it starts explaining like probably the idea is not that good, but then at the end it's like, but it's not sure, you know, like probably maybe something good can be, let's say, gotten from that plan, but it's not that sure compared to the others that were really like, let's say, precise on the information. Okay, that would be it. Guys, on the next exercise, it's also a listening. I know that then a second listening, but in this case, it's more like a dictation, you know? The idea is to complete the sentences with the correct form of the verbs that we have here in parentheses. These sentences are, let's say, the beginning of the grammatical topic of this second part of the session that we are going to study in a moment, okay? So make sure that you complete here the information with the correct form of the verbs that you are going to listen. As I was telling you, it's a kind of dictation. So we're going to listen 3 times to make sure that all of you guys can get the answers that we are supposed to write on each space. Okay, so guys, questions about the instructions?
Yes, Miss.
Tell me, what's the question? Or you mean like it's clear? Yeah, sometimes I change the question, like it is clear.
Yes.
Yeah, I change the question, sorry, sometimes. Let's listen 3 times. Let's make sure that all of you guys complete the spaces.
Unit 9, recording 5. 1.
If they build new flats, it will help other businesses in the area.
2.
I'll be very pleased when all the work is complete.
3.
I'm sure they will ask local people for their ideas before they make a decision.
4.
After the old power station goes, the area will be more attractive.
5.
As soon as more people want to come to the town centre, the traffic will be terrible.
6.
The area will change completely if they put a new shopping centre there.
'We're gonna listen the second time. Once again, after each sentence, I'm going to pause for a few seconds. So you have the opportunity like to complete, you know, and then we move to the next one and so on and so forth. Second time.
Unit 9, recording 5. 1.
If they build new flats, it will help other businesses in the area.
2.
I'll be very pleased when all the work is complete.
3.
I'm sure they will ask local people for their ideas before they make a decision.
4.
After the old power station goes, the area will be more attractive.
5.
As soon as more people want to come to the town centre, the traffic will be terrible.
6.
The area will change completely if they put a new shopping centre there.
Okay, let's listen now the final time. In this one, I'm not going to pause after each sentence. We just listen the whole thing, all complete.
Unit 9, recording 5. 1.
If they build new flats, it will help other businesses in the area.
2.
I'll be very pleased when all the work is complete.
3.
I'm sure they will ask local people for their ideas before they make a decision.
4.
After the old power station goes, the area will be more attractive.
5.
As soon as more people want to come to the town centre, the traffic will be terrible.
6.
The area will change completely if they put a new shopping centre there.
Okay, guys, to have a look at the answers, I'm going to show you the script so you can compare your answers with the original text, okay? These are the answers, guys. I want you to have a look at them to compare. Look at your statements. Let me know if you have any question. Did you have exactly the same, or maybe in one part you had something different?
The same, teacher.
Basically the same, very good. Oh my God.
Different for me.
In which part was it different?
The second and the 5.
How the second was different?
I put B.
Only B, IB?
Only I don't hear I. Yeah, that was
Mhm.
I.
The contraction.
Sí, porque
Okay.
casi no, es un poco difícil percibirla, teacher.
Yeah, you are right. Actually, it is really complicated, you know. It's not that obvious compared to other sounds. Like when we say I will, the contraction is really hard to get. And I totally agree with you. It is tricky. Any other guys? Okay. Well, as I was telling you, this is like our point of reference, basically talking about this second and let's say final grammatical component of these units in particular. Let's go back to our presentation. That is here. So, we're talking about combination of statements. Notice that if we analyze or if we have a look at the two sentences that actually make the whole idea of each situation, we're talking about one sentence that is in present and the other sentence that is in future. You already know all the rules in present, the third person, the ES, those things. And of course, when we are talking about future, you already know, let's say, the different ranges about future. For the moment, we're going to use will. If you wanna, let's say, go deep on the technical name, we will be talking about the first conditional. Now, usually we use it only with this one if, that as the name states, we are talking about a condition that is necessary in order to have a final result. But if is not the only possibility, we have other time words. As you already noticed, we have also when, that somehow makes it a little bit more realistic. If is more like there is a probability, as the name says, it is a little hypothetical, while when makes it a little bit real. Like actually, there is a probability on time for that event to happen. We also have other words that you already noticed. In some cases, we can use until, and in some cases, we can use after. What is going to be the intention? You know, we need a cause in order to have a consequence. The cause will always be using the present simple. When I finish work, until your father comes, after they have had dinner. Okay, let's have a look at these examples. Notice that also in some cases, the consequence that it may be like something predictable, the consequence is supposed to happen in the future, could be affirmative or negative. We won't be able to go if it is raining. This is the condition. If this condition happens, this is the result that will eventually happen in the future. So notice, one part is in future, the other part is in present. You can change the order. It says, even if Barcelona loses tomorrow, comma, they will still be champion. That is going to be the idea. We need a condition and we need a consequence. Keep in mind, the consequence, it is going to be the result in future. The condition is what happening in present in order to have that, let's say, expected result. Now, we gotta be careful with the combinations. Very, very careful. It is not correct to have future and future, you know. It is possible to have present and present, but then it's a complete different idea. We are not talking about a result in the future. We will be talking about a result in present, like in this precise moment. Look at this example. I'll come home when I finish work. It is not correct to say when I'll finish work. So one of the ways, you know, to decide in which part I put like which type of grammatical structure, if I have present, then I have to put the future. Or if I have the future, then the other part that I have to put is the present. Let's not combine future and future. And for the moment, we don't need to combine present and present. That is a whole different idea. Remember, we're talking about, let's say, kind of hypothetical situations to happen in the future. I need a condition now, so in the future, I can see a result. Okay? Guys, questions from this part? Let's use the chart that we have on the book, just in case you want like to have a look at it. Remember the part in future. The part in present simple will always be on the section, let's put it like that, of if, when, as soon as, after, and before. There are other expressions, but these are like the most common. Of course, you remember when we're talking about let's say how we combine will to talk about the future. Remember that will doesn't have, let's say, any transformation in particular to the verb, different from other auxiliaries that we need to add something to erase something. Will doesn't have an impact in spelling on the verb. Of course, when we're using will, we immediately recognize that we're talking about the future. But in terms of spelling, the verb doesn't change too much. And probably you're thinking about the difference in terms of, let's say, the idea or the meaning between when and as soon as. When says after or as soon as something happened, as soon as immediately after something happens, without delay. Like there is no difference in terms of time. So do you, or let's refresh our memory, what would be as soon as in Spanish?
Tan pronto como.
Pronto. Tan pronto como, así con el tan y con el como, para no quitarle la fuerza. El soon sería el pronto. Ese as es el tan y el como. Entonces, tan pronto como. That means that the action or the event has to happen like almost immediately, while when somehow gives a little more space. Of course, it's a matter of perception, you know. When you're talking about something that it is supposed to happen really fast, would be as soon as. Like, for example, as soon as we finish the class, we close the computer. That is like the moment that you turn like salir, you put it down. But when I finish the class, I will turn down the computer. So probably there is like a few seconds extra compared to the perception of as soon as. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much the same. Well, guys, of course, as usual, these type of things are better when we practice them. Let me share the whole screen with you. I'm going to send you a link. Let me tell you what it is about. This wonderful Zoom bar that is so annoying. That it is. Guys, what you're going to do is this. Here we have the words all disorganized. You gotta be very careful because you have to put the words into the correct order so the statement makes sense. Of course, talking about this type of hypothetical situation that we are starting tonight. So you take the word and you move it. If it is good, it goes like with a plus. I'm going to put like something crazy. Let's say that you put it in here. Then it's not going, let's say, to have extra points. The idea that you complete all the statements, not complete. The idea that you reorganize the words so the statement looks like the first conditional. So again, careful with the line. You know, it's not like to put it like on this. Look what the line is. Now the line is here and we put it like that. Okay. In total, there are 12 sentences. I'm going to send you the link to the chat. Guys, if you're using your cell phones or tablets, make sure to make the adjustments to sitio de escritorio para que les permita hacer el arrastrado más sencillamente. Guys, could you let me know if the link is working? Let me refresh this. Is it working?
Yes, teacher.
Perfect. This is the final activity. You have 6 minutes to complete it, and then we'll see who the winner is. Don't forget to drag and drop correctly. Final activity, 6 minutes starting now. Well, guys, let me share with you the answers before we go. These would be the ones, okay? Let's have a look at them. Probably you compare with the one that you have already done. Notice that we're talking about all the different combinations that we can find. Well, before we actually go, we're using when, which is probably the most common. In some cases, we have also if. Remember that we can use also after. We have also as soon as. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, like, let's say the idea. In general aspects, let's not forget that we're talking about something to be done in the future, that we're combining two ideas, one in present, that happens to be the condition, like I need that condition to happen in order to have that future result. That in terms of grammar, both parts could be affirmative, affirmative, affirmative and negative, negative and affirmative. It doesn't matter, you know. We are used to have more like examples with affirmative, affirmative, but at the end of the day, we can make any combinations. Even look at the last statement. In this case, we were talking about a question, and it is perfectly fine. Okay, guys, as usual, thank you very much. I know that time is always playing on our, let's say, not positive side, but that's how it works. Guys, remember, tomorrow we will talk about the project, okay? Have a wonderful evening and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye, Miss. Bye.
Take care, everybody.